Alright.
We're done shit talking.
Like, it's super heavy, and a second the camera is off you're just like, bums! Can you all roll initiative, please?
Oh boy, the joys of playing a non-dex-based character. Hit me with that -1, baby.
My initiative doesn't matter because the joys of playing a non-combat character.
Boom. -1 doesn't matter.
Even when I have a +8 to initiative, it still has a -1.
All aboard the Stram train.
This is really
Choo
nice
choo.
for you guys. Did we miss someone? I don't have...
Oh, me.
I don't have two
I didn't
people
realize that
there.
we had.
I can
tokens
add
out.
it. It's fine.
Shame.
I'll put a little bit more work into my job today.
I'm a bummer. I'm sorry.
No, Dean also did it, so you're not the only one to blame.
I collected it, didn't I? Did it not come up?
Not enough!
My little Weasley index finger didn't come
Now this is actually perfect, because, to reset the scene, you know, the dragon just takes off, Malekes. Flaming arrows are flying towards the village. And, Belara and Torin, you're kind of on the outskirts of this crowd, right? Because Belara just left it to head back here. Back to Torin. What do you want to do, Belara, as this is happening? There's screams from people before the arrows have even started to hit, terrified of the dragon. Just chaos. Belara, what are you doing?
I am tracking with my bow the dragon.
Do you want to try and take a shot? What is it? A short bow or a long bow?
If it turns, it's a short bow. If it turns back towards us, then I want.
Okay.
to.
Can you give me an insight roll?
Sure.
You've never you've tracked birds, even flying lizards. A creature like this, it's really hard to tell where it's gonna go because it looks like it could move so quickly in any which direction in the air. Right now it seems to just be gliding. It looks like it's going away towards the mountains to the north, but you're not even sure of that yourself. Torin.
Torin would... So we're being faced with Minotaurs a significant distance away.
Right now the Minotaurs are, they're a significant distance away, and they are pelting with flaming arrows right now. The arrows haven't hit yet. You are amongst a crowd of screaming and yelling people, but you're like a movement away from Richter, Oscar, and Chief Trandil.
I think Torin would step forward in front of Belara and raise his shield and then shout, "Everybody get inside!"
Could you give me a persuasion roll? Sadly, there's no leadership role in D&D.
Boom.
Yes!
All aboard the Torin
That's
train!
great! It
needs
might
one?
be the deafening quiet that such fear drills into people, but your voice booms through the air. It travels to this crowd of people that is not the full village. And people are shaken out of their fear enough to unglue their feet from the ground, and they start to run. They start to run back towards the middle of town, because you're quite on the edge of the outskirts. Some people start to run towards Oscar's house, which is the closest, and he will go, no, further inside, get away. People start running off, away from the potential battle. Good shit. While this happens, there is a terrifying roar up above of the dragon as it twists in the air. Can you all give me wisdom saving throws? This is including Oscar, who actually fails.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm gonna luck it.
Oh, baby, I just did 2
Yeah.
I don't
out
have
of
luck.
19.
I don't have luck.
Oh, yo, oh, my heart. I was ready for that. Wouldn't it be good if I had the monster manual open?
Forgot you got a +8 initiative.
That giggle and the look at the camera. I really want a clip of that.
I was thinking, how do you have 2 feats already?
Amaryllis and Torin are not feared. Everyone else is feared. Noticeably, Richter, you see your dad for the first time in your life. And I think a lot of people have had this moment. You see your dad as like a real human being for a moment, and you see him just staring up at the sky, unable to react. As these arrows whistle down, which is when the arrows start to hit. None of them hit any of you. The flaming arrows are not aimed in particular. They're just shot towards the village. Some people who didn't get to run, who weren't fast enough, are struck. And these are not... You are not a community of warriors. You are not a community of every single member is a warrior, like legends are told of the ancestors that came to this place. The people who are hit by arrows are farmers, caregivers, and if they are hit by one of these flaming arrows, they go down cold. The rooftops of buildings that are either thatch or grass catch light as the arrows litter around, creating this horrible noise as they plunk into the ground, into the thatch roofs, and more arrows still yet fly, making it incredibly hard to see as little sparks of fire light all around. The dragon is still up there, almost circling the village at this point. Amaryllis, you are not feared. You saw this all happen before. And you might know what might happen next as well. What are you doing?
Okay, so to clarify, who is around me?
You are with Richter and Oscar and the Chief, all of which are feared. Like, noticeably unable to move while these arrows fall around them.
I really wish I had prepared heroism, but I didn't. So... Amaryllis sort of closes her eyes for a moment and says, "If you stand against this tragedy, know that I will bring what I can to bear to your aid." And the flowers in her willow-like hair tresses start opening and closing, and she shimmers slightly. And you don't see any more effect, but Richter, the Chief, and Oscar all have bless on them.
Awesome. Oscar should really have his own token here. Let me sort that out. Which is his own initiative order, really.
Respect my daddy.
I didn't think about it.
Please, Mr. DM.
Yeah, I gotta find a semi-appropriate token, alright? Oh, I have one! No, I have one that'll make Neil even more big dick.
Dad energy right there.
Alright. Next is the Minotaur.
Though, right?
For the chat, this is just an Easter egg for Neil. To get Neil horny. Speaking of horny, it's the Minotaur's turn.
Horny of plenty.
I
love it. No.
Around half of them start to charge. It's a long charge, but Minotaur live to charge. And the quiet that was, it seems moments after the dragon roars, this guttural noise that you start to realize is the Minotaurs in this war yell, it's charging towards the village. And they get just about enough. On their next turn, they'll be able to start hacking away at Richter and Oscar and everyone in the front line there. Which would also include a couple of village folk who have their axe on them and are just... What else can you do but fight in this moment, Richter, you are terrified of the dragon. Mm-hmm. That means you can no longer travel any closer or act against the dragon. It doesn't super affect anything to do with the Minotaur. It's not like you're
Okay.
frozen solid.
Am I in range to hurl my spear directly at a Minotaur approaching
What
us?
is the range of a spear? Did you
I
put that on
believe
your
it's
character sheet?
60, isn't it?
There's 2 ranges. So there's like a close range throw, and then there's the long range yeet that has disadvantage.
Actually, it's a short range yeet and a long range Kobe.
2060.
What a fucking scholar. You can, if you run up, you can do a no disadvantage throw. If you stay still, you can do a throw at disadvantage. Noticeably, of the people charging, the leader, which Balara kind of pointed out to you, is one of them. There's also one of the people charging looks larger than the others and is starting to ready a warhammer. It is already bloody as they're running up close.
I'll aim for the big boy.
Okay.
And as
Give
I'm
me an
sprinting,
attack.
I'll... God damn it.
The
got a
Minotaur...
D4.
Yeah, the Minotaur... it out of the sky, snapping the spear as they continue to run closer.
Piss.
Bit of that.
Yeah, I'll move as close as I can to them. And that will be it.
Okay. Balara, Tauren successfully gets people starting to run away. The Minotaur are charging. Richter is running up to meet the charge. What are you doing?
I'm gonna shoot the one that Richter is running towards.
Yeah! Awesome! Go ahead. That's a hit.
Oh yeah.
In
It's
your
actually a really
face.
good one too. This Minotaur, and this is, it's not the largest one in the tribe. That's actually still back. But 9 feet tall beast wearing animal skulls in the braids and dense, rough fur of its mane, and that arrow hits it, and it stalls it for an awkward, stumbling step with its momentum. It bleeds.
And now I'm going to climb something.
Okay, you can get to Oscar's keep.
Okay, that's what I
Awesome.
will do.
Tauren.
So Oscar and the chief are standing looking terrified. Richter's charged
Richter's
forward.
actually broken past them to charge forward towards the Minotaur.
How far away is he?
60 feet from you.
Torin will run the 30 feet to fall in line with Oscar. And he locks the shield next to him and then raises the mace. And then he shouts to Richter, Richter, come back! You gotta do a shield wall! It's what your dad said! And then he will prepare an action to mace whatever comes into.
You come up close, and Oscar kind of shakes his head a little bit, and twists and moves, and kind of looks down at Tauren, like, you don't have to be here, boy. You could run. You could survive.
I was trained just like Richter. I can do this.
Good lad. And he does the same. He just readies to attack the first Minotaur that goes past Richter towards us. Because Richter is... They're not all going to swarm Richter, it's clear.
Richter's gone.
At the same time, the
Time
chief...
to roll a new character.
Chief does pretty much the same. While this is happening, the dragon swoops around a village. To a dragon, flying over this village is child's play. It's up high, it can move so fast in the air, although it looks completely effortless. It swoops down low over the farms that line the riverside. Draws its breath, and a plume of deep green, poisonous gas exhales from its mouth, crashing into the farmland that just erupts, explodes, spreads like a mist. You can see the life that's there. I mean, the farms are no longer in use. The harvest has ended, but you can just see the life wither and die, and the poison seep into the river downstream, turning a horrible, sickly green. Amaryllis, you're there with Torin and Oscar and Chief.
So I will take a step back and I will activate Take Root. So basically, Amaryllis just becomes more tree-like, and sort of her feet seem to sort of, you can hear sort of a slight, well, you would be able to hear if it wasn't so noisy, slight cracking of like under her feet as all
like
things
everything
come out of her
sets
feet.
and changes. Yeah.
And she looks almost like a tree now, as long as she doesn't move. And I am going to prepare as my main action. I am going to prepare to cast Sleep when the horde hits. Just hit off as many out.
Absolutely.
And all you see is just like, again, the flowers start opening and closing faster, and there's a slight scent, sweet scent, sort of begins to drift off her around her.
That gave me goosebumps, Ian.
The Minotaur first. As they're running, you see the chief of the Minotaur, Borem, kind of growl out at the big one and point at Richter with a big hand. You can't understand their language, but it's clear. And the big one changes its angle and runs towards Richter. As the rest of the crowd hits, that's when we'll do opportunity attacks and sleep. But first, this one will attack at Richter.
Baby, come back. Oh, there we go.
Richter, what's your armor class?
18.
It swings, and you parry.
Oh, pulling my longsword out.
Yeah. There's this deep grunt from this creature much larger than you, as you actually do best it in that moment. And it snorts out this sweaty breath at you. And that's when the rest of the charging group, the rest of the dozen, rushes towards his front line. First we'll do the opportunity attacks, then the sleep. So, Torin, feel free to attack at one.
Torin smash.
That is going to be... ooh, you know what? Let's check the tape there.
VRM.
That's a hit.
Hey.
Most of the armor they're wearing is just hides and things. And, like, one rushes up to you and you manage to bash it quickly before it gets to you. Beside you, Oscar misses his first attempt at an attack, but then kind of uses that momentum of the miss to do a swinging up strike to the Minotaur that you first hit. It's like...
There's a slightly odd thing when he attacks because, like, the bless, like, when his weapon is swinging up, it seems to shimmer slightly, and then it just you swear it moves in such a way that it's a little bit closer than it should be.
Yeah.
And it just as it strikes.
As that Minotaur staggers and does not go down from those powerful blades, and you've seen Oscar kill things before. It usually doesn't take two swings. He actually looks back at Amaryllis and is like, spirits are with us. And that's when the Minotaur attack the line back. The chief is actually too scared to fight back. They attack him. Yeah, he didn't get to prepare an action. They attack him and they hit him and he goes down. Because the situation going down is not necessarily death, but he just gets hit by a ball and chain, and there's just this crack on the old aged man, and he just thunks down against the wooden post of the building nearby. Torin, what's your armor class?
Torin has an armor class of 18.
You manage to block the strike from the staggered Minotaur on the shield, and Oscar's like, good dodge, lad. But
Hello,
you're
Dan, I'm
only...
Yeah, he's like Richter's like, hey, and he's like, well done, Torin, good job.
You're only 3-4 people. There are 11 more charging Minotaur. The rest of them swoop past this line, not interested in fighting the battle, interested in destroying and killing.
Do you want me to cast sleep at this point?
Please do.
It's a good amount of hit points.
Not bad.
One falls asleep.
Okay.
I bet it was so close.
It was very close. I'm being maybe a little generous. But as the charging group, they kind of stumble and slow down at the kind of ambient magic, because they can feel it affecting their minds, even if it doesn't make them sleep. One of them just kind of... and kind of slowly slumps down. Richter! Big Minotaur before you. Then there's still the other Minotaur back there are still launching flaming arrows toward the village. They have not stopped.
I will look behind me and realize that I need to get back and protect, so I will disengage and run back.
Back to that line. All right. Balara. So, to put it in simplest terms-ish, as much as possible, there's the Minotaur that Richter was fighting that he just disengaged with that has been hit. No, he hasn't. Never mind. There's the one that Tauren hit that is pretty injured, and then there's others that are just charging the village.
I think if I saw one that was preparing to attack Tauren, I would definitely.
Yeah, there's that one.
That one.
He's fighting, absolutely.
Okay.
It's Tauren, guys.
It's a strike. Sorry.
Not the mythical cow race from WoW.
And with that, the Minotaur that you guys are fighting raises up its weapon, and there's just a in the neck. And a spray of blood, because Minotaur are big creatures with a lot of blood, and it actually does kind of spray up your shield, Tauren. And the creature tumbles back, and Oscar's like, "At a girl!" Seeing that, and will kind of start to shift and move, and kind of say to Tauren's like, "They're not interested in a clean." Actually, say to Tauren and Richter at this point, like, "They're not interested in a clean fight. They want to pillage. They want to kill. Find them, maim them, protect the innocent." And he will start on a move. Tauren.
Tauren's gonna start running in the direction of his house, I guess.
Okay.
If he encounters a Minotaur before then, he will hit it.
They are faster than you. As you get up to your house, you see a Minotaur, literally as you get there, barging through the door with a deep laugh. And that's your turn.
Tauren, can I shout?
You can shout.
Tauren will shout, "Oi! Lion's balls!"
Minotaur's like,
oh shit.
yeah. Oscar, as he moves, will kind of briefly stop by the chief, and kind of like do the arm clasp, kind of lift him up a bit, because he and the chief, they go way back. They were the Tauren and Richter of their age. It's like, "You don't die here today. You pick up that fucking axe. You do your duty. By the wind, you do your duty," and like lift him up, and then kind of like just leave him to fight as he goes and runs towards the chief's hut. Actually, being the largest place in the village, the largest building, often a meeting point where the well is right outside it. That's where most people ran. And that's where most of the Minotaur are. And he runs up to fight them. While this is happening, if you ever look up, if you ever dare, you sometimes can see the dragon circling, sometimes pausing, watching clearly. You can see its eyes upon you. Amaryllis! There's still Richter with you, but pretty much everyone else is moving off towards the village.
Amaryllis just Amaryllis just sort of turns her distant gaze on Richter and just intones, "The flow will not let your people end here. Save those you can." And there's that strange sort of sound of roots pulling up almost as she deroots, and she reaches behind her and into the voluminous hair and pulls out a short bow that, and if you get a decent look at it, looks like it's made from her own bark and strung with a bit of spider silk. "I will follow and help those you help." And I'm basically just going to follow Richter at this point.
Okay. Minotaur. You, a little man in tin can. Kind of pushes back its hoof and then charges Torin. And hits. You think it's going to go for a strike, and then very quickly ducks its head down and gores you with its horns.
Oh.
Pierces through the armor with the speed it gets. And you are going to take... Oh, the one dice I don't have. Isn't that handy?
Oh, no, it better not be a D12.
Because no one ever uses the D12.
Because I can't take a D12.
You can if it's a 1.
It's going to be...
Be an Ian.
It's going to be 7 piercing damage. You
Ouchie.
feel red hot pain that you can't even quite process. And the Minotaur like just pulls back, which is another half of the damage, to ready its strike again. When it comes to the other Minotaur of the group that's attacking the middle of the village, I mean, you guys who aren't, Torin's kind of distracted. You're seeing them, they are going out to kill people. That is their focus. Occasionally they will pick things up, baskets of grain or bread, kind of sling them over a shoulder. But as people are running, as they get to the city center, they are just cutting people down. Oscar gets up close to them and does a very similar thing. He actually throws a rock at the town bell by the well, and is just kind of grabs their attention, and one will go over to attack him. And will hit, but he takes that hit. Just. Rector.
Okay. So I'm going to, if I can, run past Torin as he's fighting this Minotaur and try and get back into the main.
Yeah, Torin's kind of off to the side a little bit, so you can either go to Torin or the village center.
Village center.
Awesome. Alright, and Amaryllis follows behind. This puts you in the melee with too many Minotaur to count right now.
Actually, how far away am I from the motherfucker fighting Torin?
You can get to Torin and make an attack on that Minotaur. It will be both your actions to get to the village center.
Damn it. I'll make an attack.
Okay.
I will pull out a hand axe and just lob it.
Yeah, you're kind of going that way, but you'll throw at the I getcha. Awesome. No problemo. It's a hit.
Radical.
Thank God.
It's a
Thank
good
God.
one too.
Damn.
Yeah, because it has its head forward, and you just see it pulling back and blood on its horns. And there's only one person that blood could be from. But then that axe actually gets it in the eye, and the axe lodges. Back, but it does not go down. Balara.
Okay, so as the Minotaur attacked Torin, she was like knocking an arrow. But as soon as she sees him get hit, she'll just and drop it and pull out her sword and drop down from the tree and start running at it. I don't know if I can make it to it in time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get there and make an attack at the same time on the same turn. You know, you're a dexterous character. You maybe vault a fence and a hedge, but that's fine.
Volta hen.
Volta hen. There's a particularly big cock in this area. That's a hit. It's another good hit as well. You know, you can get up behind it and slash at its side, and it howls out again, but it doesn't go down.
If it's engaged with Torin, you'd get sneak, wouldn't you? You are a rogue.
Yeah.
How to do it though?
Please roll sneak attack. It's an extra D6 at level 1?
Yeah, it's a D6 at level 1.
Just roll an extra D6.
I feel like that first attack was her just taking the hilt of her sword and hitting the axe further into its face.
Please roll an extra D6.
I did it. And then coming back down with her sword for the 4.
Yeah. You do that. The noise is very cerebral. As you jam the axe into this thing's brain, its other eye kind of pops out from the pressure that you cause. And the Minotaur just staggers back, kind of shaking, as you literally jam that axe into its brain, and then it just tumbles backwards. Torin, that happens in front of you.
We've got to help. He's like clasping this like hole in his chainmail, and there is red seeping from it, and he's like, got to help. And he starts like a drunk person, he starts making his way towards the center of town. Like leaning on stuff, catching, leaving red hand marks. Need to help. So he would make his way over there. Can he make his way?
You can get there and get an action, being in the kind of the city, melee.
Ooh. He'll go and he'll hit one. He'll see Oscar fighting one, and he'll go and clobber that one.
Okay. No, it's a bit of a tired.
It's too
weak. You, for a brief moment, actually, Torin might not even see this, but you know the others. You see for a brief moment, Oscar pale at how injured Torin is, but very quickly shake past that and swing at this Minotaur again. The Minotaur, this one wielding a two-handed hammer, clashing every strike of his sword with the brunt of it and just laughing. At this point, the city, the village center is on fire with the flaming arrows that are coming down. It is a horrible soundscape. Amaryllis.
Amaryllis, just following after Richter, pulls a beautifully carved arrow out again from somewhere and fires a shot at the one that Oscar is engaged with.
Mm-hmm.
My amazing mod.
That is just about a miss. That's one of the ones where like the arrow does hit the hide, and the creature just kind of like and doesn't really shake. Okay, Minotaur. The Minotaur kind of between you, Torin and Oscar, looks at Torin like and goes to swing at him, and Oscar straight up pushes you out of the way, like pushes you to the ground to try and parry that strike instead, and he doesn't get it in time. The hit he takes brings him down to one knee. You hear the metal of his armor crunch into his ribcage, and there's just kind of an exhale. I imagine he sounds quite a lot like Ian right now, trying to not cough. And he just kind of stumbles eyes wide to the ground at that strike. But still trying to like pluck up the sword and fight again, but in a very similar way to Torin right now, just weakened very much so. Brilliantly, the large one that Richter nearly fought is not with the rest of the Minotaur. It runs by and sees Belara alone and makes a detour. And you manage to dodge the attack that comes towards you as it swings down with a warhammer. So much that it like hits the earth and erupts the dirt and mud, but you dodge that attack. Richter.
Alright, so as I'm heading towards town, would I see?
Yeah, you're kind of directly between town, attacked by many Minotaur, and Richter. Richter? Belara.
Oscar. Oh.
Oscar is in the village center.
Gotcha. So I don't see that.
You can see that. You can see both things.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, I would definitely go and try and save Oscar.
Okay.
Can I approach them?
Over. Yeah.
Okay. From behind, I would suppose I'm going to try and slice the bottom part, like its calf almost, I suppose. With with
that's explicitly what like Oscar was trying to tell you to do as well. Absolutely.
The Minotaur's calf.
Wow.
Killing his baby.
That is a hit, and so good a hit, you actually do get a weakening strike on that. Please roll damage.
You beef strung it.
This one hasn't been hit in combat yet, but lets up this horrible howl as its leg just goes, basically like loses all control of that leg and just stumbles and falls, nearly falling on Oscar, who's kind of on the ground there. Not down, not out at all, but maimed. Bella.
Disengage and chase after Torin.
Okay. Torin.
Torin, like, he's just been pushed back. He, like, tries to sit forward and, like, he's got a big wound in his tummy. He doesn't. He, like, manages to roll onto his belly and then onto one knee and, like, puts his hand on Oscar and he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to. And then he's not capable of taking, like, he would take the dodge. He just raises his shield against this thing weakly.
Oscar, seeing Richter, behind, and he kind of gives Richter, like, a brief nod. You've never seen your father so injured. He takes a wheezing breath and kind of looks to Torin and is like, your power is inside you, boy. Not with the mace. And, tries to roll up. As he does, he takes this big breath. And with a bit of a warrior's resolve, does stand back up, bring back up the sword, heal for a tasty amount of healing.
Wind, baby.
Yeah.
Can't keep a good Oscar down.
And swings at this Minotaur that's already on the ground prone as it's falling, and it's a big hit, but not a kill. And then just twists the blade, and the Minotaur like the blood just bubbles. Amaryllis.
So currently the group is not engaged with any Minotaurs.
Basically you are. The group
yeah.
is in the area where the Minotaurs are. So they kind of are engaged if they want to be, right?
Yeah.
Of note, if you were paying attention, Borum, their leader, is not actually in the melee with the rest of them. She's a little bit off to the side, pointing, yelling, watching.
Amaris will come up, sort of holding the bow to her side, and will just say, "The one that leads them. If you fell her, they might retreat." But she will prepare an attack to fire at Borum if anyone else goes to move towards her.
Awesome. One Minotaur will, as its building's on fire, literally just shove one of the timbers of the building on fire to make it fall at Richter. Richter, can you please give me a dex save?
Dex save. Roger that.
You have a bless. So
please add a D4 to that. Oh, that's good, because that would have been a failure. You managed to roll and move out of the way faster than you even thought you could as the timber crashes down and explodes into embers there. You still take 5 bludgeoning, as you know, kind of you have to like hit the ground hard and more wood kind of falls from the ceiling as this happens. The building creaks and groans, and you kind of notice now the destruction of the buildings. Most of your buildings are made of wood and thatch, and most of them are on fire from this and are starting to collapse. And the Minotaur, like, that was one of the group that bothers to attack you. The rest are just killing people. Richter.
I'll take a quick look around. Is there, like, any civilian currently nearby that is in danger?
Yeah. The one that just shoved that pillar down at you, like, just grabs at one of the farm folk to just, like, cut their neck.
Am I within range? Because I would
Absolutely.
like to...
Yeah.
I would like to stabby stab.
Please do.
Or slashy slash.
It's a hit. It's enough to distract the beast, but not a kill. Bella. The tree lady said to kill the leader. Richter is fighting the one inside the village center.
Balar knows the significance of Borum. And she's scared, but she likes a gamble. So, how's Torin looking when I look at him?
He's like slowly raising himself up. But I mean, he's not in immediate danger.
Yeah, he's not being attacked by anything. He's
Oscar
very
is right
injured,
next to
but
him.
he's got Oscar right next to him as well. So, fine.
Okay. I just don't like I felt like his babysitter a little bit today, right? So,
How much do you want to gamble is the question.
I would go find Borum.
Okay, you can get up to melee with her. Like you
okay.
kind of like hear Amaryllis say take on their leader, and you look around and you see her. She is not inside this burning building. She is outside it by one of the doors.
I would run up to her and I'd say, "Call off your dogs, you bitch."
She would just snort at that and just smirk.
Then it's time for thrusty stabbies.
I'd like you
That's
to
a
make my
hit.
knife. Thrusty McStabbyson.
As you do that, she kind of pulls back and draws her weapon and is like, "We are lions."
I get my prepared action now.
Yes, you do.
She will. Balara will smirk and she'll be like, "Fine, call off your kittens."
That arrow plinks into her back, and she kind of looks around, seeing this. And Borum draws this bone axe seemingly made of the teeth of some large predator. Torin, you're seeing both fights here.
Torin staggers up. And he says, the power's inside. The power is all around. And he'll raise his hand towards Belle, and there's like a rustling of just light wind throughout the village,
blowing the embers.
And you just feel this gust pass over you as you hear the whispers of Eirik.
Ooh, sanctuary! That's the real shit right there.
A sanctuary.
Don't ruin it.
And then I will take the full defense action. Dodge.
Oscar is going to just charge forward, metal clanking, kind of looping around with Belara and to try and get behind Borm, and kind of charges at Borm and hits. Hits well. Borum is their leader. She's tougher than the rest, and these have all taken quite a lot of hits, but she takes that hit. And seeing that, Oscar kind of steps back. It's like, well, I suppose an honorable fight then. And kind of mockingly, and then just swipes again, kind of at the neck, which Borum kind of dodges, but not well enough. There's still a spray of blood, and she is gravely wounded from this, from Oscar coming to help. Dragon? Nope. Amaryllis.
Gonna fire another arrow at Borum then. See if I can kill Steel.
Do it.
No.
You're not
Borum-
blessed?
No, I'm not.
No, she didn't bless herself.
Not when it comes to any form of ranged weaponry.
Borum snorts and with surprising amount of speed swings wide and just cuts directly into the same wound that Oscar is kind of ignoring, and Oscar just crumples. She does the kind of like kick the axe off the body. The spray of blood is from Oscar. And just kind of looks down at Belara, kind of, understanding that she just killed one of the elders from her perspective. And readies to strike you as well. But it almost seems like she's giving you... like she's leaving herself open for attack, you know? Richter. You hear that. You see that through the door.
Okay, well, I will immediately not disengage, but break away from this Minotaur.
Okay,
So
it makes
far.
an opportunity attack, which is going to just miss.
Okay, and get to where Oscar is. Am I able to hit?
Yep.
Who is it again? Borum.
Borum,
Borum. Yeah. I will go with a long sword swipe.
That is going to be a miss. She has more armor than the rest of them. Slates of metal connected to the hide. And she kind of like parries that out of the way. It's like, I'm weak. Bringing a boy to do a woman's battle. And next. Oh no!
We didn't see you.
It was bringing a boy to do a woman's battle. It was very cool.
That is
That
very
was cool. I wasn't expecting that.
Next is Belara's turn.
she will look down at Oscar, and this is like an adult that she loves and respects, and she will look back at Borum, and she'll say, "You're gonna fucking pay for that," and attack her.
That's a hit.
You would have sneak attack on this as well.
You would have sneak attack, an extra d6.
Nah, let's not.
Please describe the kill.
So she like as Borum is looking back and forth between all of us, Balara says, "You're gonna pay for that." And I imagine that Borum goes to laugh. And so she kind of throws her head back, and Balara just slings her fucking sword up under her jaw.
Oh.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. I resisted. You have to resist too.
What?
It's a Hot Fuzz joke.
Oh.
This happens.
Which you should watch.
Yes.
I've seen it.
You do that when you pull back. Again, another spray of thick Minotaur blood, and Worm falls. The other Minotaur hear this. And there is a guttural mourning wail from some of them. But do you speak Beast Tongue?
I do.
Yeah.
I do as well, yay.
You two are the only people who understand the Minotaur language of Beast Tongue. And they say it's like, Borum fallen, Matrix fallen. This isn't worth it. Similar things, and they start to retreat. Considering Oscar is dying, we'll stay in turn order for Torum's turn.
I would have, by the way, fallen to my knees and started to, like, press on his wounds.
You can actually give me a med. No, you just attack, so no. I can't do that.
Torum will drop his mace, his shield, seeing Oscar, the literally strongest man in the village, fall due to his fault. Torum, like, runs forward, drops to his knees in front, and says, "Later can help. It'll be fine. It'll be fine." He puts his hands on the wound. He says, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." And then he like the breath's starting to come slower, and he's like, he closes his eyes, screws them tight, and he's like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine." And you see a tears start to roll down his face, and as he's like pushing down, his little spiral amethyst amulet drops out from under the chain, and a tear drops onto it. As it travels down the spiral shape, you see the sort of amethyst glow begin to spread, and then it lands on the back of his hands, and he can see, like, it's bright now. You can all see this bright sort of amethyst glow, and then it spreads into Oscar and disappears.
There is a very long moment. Through the chaos of the burning buildings, through the stomping of the Minotaur running away, through the screaming and crying. And Oscar takes a deep, choking breath. Blood actually spraying out of his mouth as he does. And this is a great place to take another break. So, we will do so.